Hello, I'm Nair from Nair's Aviation Ground School. This is the 7th video in a new series of educational aviation videos for the aspiring pilot. In recent videos, the runway and the markings on the runway were discussed. We are not done with the runway yet. An important aspect of the airport are lights. Runway lights provide guidance and information about the runway and the surrounding areas of the airport. This video is about runway lights. Just like runway markings provide information about the runway, the lighting systems of the airport provide more information and guidance about the runway and the surrounding premises. If you have seen pictures of airports at night, one of the most eye-catching sights should have been the numerous blue lights throughout the airport. These bright blue lights are taxi lights. These taxiway lights are on both sides of the taxiway and are turned on at night times and in periods of reduced visibility, such as during times of fog or inclement weather. On larger airports, there might be green lights on the middle of the taxiway. Just like the runways, the taxiways on large airports have center lines, and these green lights illuminate the taxiway center line. Airports have to operate around the clock. To aid the pilots who are taking off or coming in for a landing, the runways have a series of lights. The edges of the runway are illuminated with white lights for the majority of the length of the runway. The last 2,000 feet of the runway have yellow lights to indicate to the pilot that the aircraft is approaching the end of the runway. The edge lights provide the pilot with a definite view of the runway from the air, helping them place the aircraft in the proper direction. The beginning and the end of the runways are also illuminated. It is very important that the pilot knows where the runway starts and where the runway ends. The beginning of the runway threshold in other words, is illuminated by green lights. The end of the runway is identified by red lights. Green lights indicate where the pilot can start landing the aircraft, and the red lights show the limit of the runway. To further show the beginning of the runway, there are two flashing white lights right before the runway threshold. These lights provide further information about where the runway begins. The flashing lights attract the pilot's eyes and make sure they know where they can begin landing the aircraft. The runway center lines are needed to ensure the pilot knows where to place the aircraft on the runway. The need to know the center line is even more important at night and in bad weather, so the runway center lines are illuminated in white. The lights are spaced about 50 feet apart and allows the pilot to know exactly where the center line is, even in poor visibility. Just like the touchdown zone markings that appear on runways, there are touchdown zone lights. These white lights extend a few thousand feet down the runway and highlight the suitable place to touch down the aircraft on the runway. Approach lights might be the most dazzling of airport lights. The flashing multicolored lights signal and provide a guideline on the proper approach to the runway. The approach lights provide visual cues to the pilot about how best to align the aircraft with the runway. An important visual tool used by pilots to judge the placement of the aircraft during an approach to the runway are the PAPI lights. PAPI stands for Precision Approach Path Indicator and provides a changing visual cue on the glide path of the aircraft on approach. The red and white lights provide different visual cues depending on the height of the aircraft. 4 red lights means that the airplane is too low and might land short. 4 white lights indicate the airplane is too high and might overshoot the runway. 3 red lights and 1 white light indicates that the airplane is slightly lower than the best glide path, while 3 white lights and 1 red light means the airplane is slightly higher than the best approach path to the runway. When a PAPI indicates 2 white and 2 red lights, that means the airplane is on the proper glide path to the runway and is at the correct height. The PAPI provides dynamic information to the pilot and is used to check if the pilot has properly set up the airplane for the approach to the runway. Runway lights can be confusing to the student pilot. These lights are used to provide information about the runway and provide guidance to the pilot as to their alignment and positioning of the aircraft on approach to a landing. The importance of the runway lights cannot be overstated. Night operations of aircraft are only possible due to the important lights that illuminate the runways of airports around the world. For more information, please contact us at liftanddrag@gmail.com and visit our website at nairsaviation.webnode.com. Thank you. Safe flying.